Okay, let's get on and do some yoga. Today we are going to continue with our standing postures. We're going to look at the third warrior. We done Virabhadrasana 1 and 2 yesterday. We're going to do the most difficult one today, but it doesn't have to be difficult. It's challenging, but there's ways of working towards attaining the full posture that we'll look at. And we'll do Utkatasana, chair posture, and we will also do the half moon posture, and we'll go into it through the triangle, Trikonasana. So there's lots to be done. Let's get ourselves into our foundation position. Oh, and also before we start, you might like to have close by your trusty cushion if you have one, a belt or a strap, and blocks. Okay, we won't necessarily use all of them today, but particularly we will use the blocks. So if you've got something like that, go get it now. And then we'll get ourselves into our foundation, Tadasana, mountain posture, where we are continuing to adjust and correct our alignment. You might like to place one hand on your stomach, one hand on the base of your spine. Take a breath in, pick up, lift up, tilt forwards with that pelvis. So from a side view, if you're pushing your chest and your buttocks out, you're going to change that. You're going to lift everything up, tilt it, and get it resting nice and centrally. As we know now, your pelvic girdle is the linchpin between your upper and lower body. When the pelvic girdle is centered correctly, the rest of the skeletal frame can align itself as nature intended. You might like to pick the toes up, give them a bit of a wiggle. You don't need to look down at them, just pick them up and then gently place them back onto the mat. Pick up at the insteps of the feet. Make them bright and lively, and then lift up from the ankles through the lower parts of the leg, getting that continuum to commence whereby all parts above just want to go in the same direction. So there's this full-on feeling of elevation right up to the crown of your head. It's happening internally and it's happening externally on the flesh. Think about the sides of your body, the front, the back, all parts. Engage and awaken and get them all working. As you breathe out, let's take the shoulders back, allow the arms to hang naturally by the sides of the body and then open out across the front of the chest. You then bring your chin to become parallel with the mat. And briefly, you might like to close the eyes to give yourself the opportunity to tune in. You connect with your flow of breath. You begin to lengthen and deepen both the incoming breath and the outgoing breath. You connect with the fact that you're going to be always, as much as possible, taking the breath in through the nostrils, for this will clean, warm and moisten the air before it reaches your lungs and heart, your vital organs, your breathing apparatus. If you take in air into the mouth, you are taking in cold, unfiltered air, and this in itself will deplete your lung capacity and immunity. So draw in through the nostrils, and you can release that breath out through the nostrils or out through the mouth. Good. Okay, let's look at Utkatasana. Utkatasana is the chair posture. It's going to increase the strength of your spinal cord, especially the lower back. It's going to contract the stomach muscles to pull in to give that support to the lower back. It's known as the mighty one. Okay, so we're going to start in the more basic foundation of having the feet hip width apart. In time, as you progress and become more proficient in your practice, you'll be able to bring the feet together for this position. But in the early days of your practice, have them hip width apart, or maybe even a little wider. And check that the feet are nice and straight. Just have a look down now and see if you're at 10 to 2, or if you're like a ballerina in first position with your toes turned out. You want to get your toes nice and straight, and you want the outer edge of the heels to be in line with your pinkies. So it might just mean turning the heels out a little bit. It's almost as if the 2 feet are on parallel tracks with each other. Okay, we're going to breathe in, we're going to lift the arms up, we're going to relax the shoulders away from the ears, we're going to pull the tummy in. Draw that belly button in, back and down to connect with the base of the spine. It's lending its support and strengthening it. We're going to take another breath in as we think of lifting our lower abdominals and our hips away from our legs. And then we're going to exhale and we're going to bend the knees. We're bending at the ankles too, allowing us to get this zigzag form in the body. So even though the weight is drawing down through the legs and into the feet, you're staying strong there, you want to feel the upper body is lifting up and away from the legs. Be aware if you're pushing your chest out and your bottom out and you've got this big dip in the base of your spine. Again, have that tilt of the pelvis. And even though the body is bending forwards, you want to keep drawing it back more towards the vertical line. Okay? Think about stretching your Achilles tendon and your calf muscles upwards, away from the feet. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Keep the breath flowing. Unclench your teeth and soften the skin on your face. See if you can draw those arms back a little more so that the insides of the upper arms are travelling in line with the ears. And then you'll breathe in, lift up, rise up, stay lifted as the hands lower down. So you've got those 2 different flows of energy taking place. The energy that's drawing down into the ground and the energy that's lifting up to the crown of the head. Utkatasana, chair posture. Let's try that once more. So if that was a good enough position for you there, stay with your feet hip width apart. And when you bring the hands up, keep the hands shoulder width apart. If you feel that you can bring those feet together, then do so. You're going to breathe in, bring the hands up. If you feel that you can bring the palms of the hands together, then do so. Work at the position you feel capable with. Nice deep inhalation, lift the upper body away from the lower body. Exhale, bend the knees, sink the buttocks down, tilt the pelvis, pull the tummy in, back and down. Relax the shoulder away from the ears. Unclench the teeth. Breathe in through the nostrils and be aware of the lungs inflating as the ribcage opens and the chest pushes forward. And then stay observant as the lungs deflate, the chest closes, and air is exhaled. And then we'll breathe in, rise up, lift up, and lower the hands down. Soften through the shoulders as the arms lower, and then you might like to give yourself a little bit of a shake there. Okay, so let's go now to Ardha Chandrasana, half moon posture. This is a beautifully poised balance on one leg and one hand. There are several steps to get to the fullness of the position, so do remember you can keep your practice at any one of those steps along the way. It's much better to grow strong in the lower parts of the position than trying to progress too soon and falling out of alignment or crashing out of the position and feeling like you're never going to achieve it. Small steps. Yoga is not a race. It's not a competition with no one else or yourself. It's all about discovering and having an adventure with the body and mind along the way. So breathe in, bring the hands together at the heart, the place of all truth, and then you're going to exhale, step, jump or walk the feet about 3.5 feet apart and extend the hands out in line with the shoulders. You've now got the star position, those 5 points, the tips of the toes, the fingertips, the crown of the head, and feel the energy travelling freely around your body. You can breathe in, lift the toes, turn them to the right. Check on the position of the feet, heel of right foot in line with the left instep. Trunk of body facing the wall directly in front of you. Have some lift up through those legs, make them lively and active. Again, creating space with every inhalation, and then as you exhale, let's reach to the right. Stretching as far as you can to the right and then lowering down. We're bringing ourselves into Utkatasana, triangle posture, that lovely lateral flexion of the spine, also enabling the hips to mobilise further and deeper. Okay, so here's where we're going to start moving into half moon. We're going to drop that left hand down onto our left hip and turn and look at the ground just in front of your right foot. Now it's at this point that if you feel you might need a block, have that in front of your right foot. Okay? You're then going to bend that leading knee and you're going to place your right hand on your block or on the floor in front of you, on the mat in front of you. You're then going to gently draw the weight of your head and shoulders and torso forward. You're going to begin to straighten that right knee, raise the left foot in line with the hip. Okay, so you can practice this level for days, weeks, couple of months, grow strong here. Take the time to place your right hand in as best position for you that you feel contributes to the balance. Nice and slowly, you're then going to stack your left hip over your right hip, and you can already feel some movement in the lower pelvis opening itself up so that that left hip can stack above the right. You then release that left hand to draw it up towards the ceiling, and you will turn the head and neck on the cervical spine to look up towards the thumb. Now bear in mind as well, you can also do this position against a wall, keeping your ankle, your hip, your shoulder and your head connected to the wall. You could also have something underneath the raised foot to rest upon, just while you gain the sensation of the position and to give you time to grow in strength in the posture. And then coming out of the position, placing the hand back on the hip, bending the leading knee, bringing that back foot down, travelling through Utkatasana, up to the centre with the grace and strength that you went into the position. Now, if you need to lower the hands and have a breather, do so. But if you can keep the hands raised, that's going to increase your upper body strength and increase the tone and shape of your arms, develop the shape of the muscles. Let's lift the toes. Now turn to the left. So we turn the left foot out 90 degrees. We turn the right foot in about 45 degrees. If you choose to have a wall behind you, breathe in, create space. You're lifting up pubis to navel, navel to breastbone, breastbone to brow, to crown of head, and even further up into the atmosphere above you. And then when you exhale, you begin to reach to the left, really stretching. You're wanting to touch those left fingertips to the wall beside you, and then you lower. Your right hand raised up to the ceiling, your right shoulder stacked above your left, both shoulders in line with your hips. Unclench your teeth. And then gently bring that right hand to rest down onto the right hip. Turn and look down towards the floor in front of your left foot. Breathe in. Bend the left knee, place the left hand out in front of you. Stay here for a round of breath. Get to your foundation position. You'll then draw the weight of the trunk of the body, the shoulders, the head forward. You'll gently allow that right foot to release off of the floor. Straightening the left knee, making the left leg nice and active. Engage all muscles. Remember, you can practice at this level for days, weeks, months. Get that left hand placed comfortably, and then begin to stack the right hip above the left and turn through the spinal cord, bringing the left hand side of the trunk of the body round towards the belly button, and then releasing that right hand up towards the ceiling, turning the head and neck on the cervical spine to look up towards the raised thumb, unclenching the teeth, observing, and then nice and gently looking back towards the ground, bringing the right hand back towards the right hip, bending the left knee, lowering the right foot, coming back through Utkatasana, triangle posture, and then breathe in, pull the tummy in, coming up to that central star position, toes pointing towards 12 o'clock, fingertips stretching towards the walls either side of you. A nice deep inhalation and exhalation. You'll lower the hands and then jump step or walk the feet together. You might want to give yourself a little bit of shake. Nice deep breath in and out through the nose. Whew. Coming into Tadasana, chin parallel with the mat. Let the hands rest naturally at the outer thighs. Tilt the pelvis. Lift the buttocks, the flesh on the buttocks, lift it up. Draw the buttock cheeks together. That pelvis will tilt a little further. The stomach will pull in a little deeper. You might like to close the eyes briefly here, have a breath in and out. Be aware of the balance, the total body weight of you distributing itself into the 2 feet. And then open the eyes. And now let's go for Virabhadrasana III, Warrior 3. Warriors have strength, purpose and determination. So if you look at these qualities and draw them into your practice, they will manifest within you. Now we're going to go the easy way into Warrior 3. We're going to go just from this upright standing position, but you can actually get to Warrior 3 from Warrior 1 as well. But we're just going to do from an upright position. Okay, so we're in Tadasana. We're going to release our right heel and foot and just place that right leg behind us with the toes travelling down or just touching onto the mat. So we've got our hips nice and central, facing the wall in front of us. We're already lifting up, drawing our upper body away from our lower body. So we're creating space within the hip joints. Remember, ball and socket joint, the femur bone connected into the hip. If we lift and create space, we'll be able to then hinge that over. We're going to take the arms up over the head, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Have our inside of the upper arms travelling in line with our ears. A breath in, pull up, pubis to navel, create space. Exhale, you're going to gently hinge forward to a point where you know you're still making that nice line with the body, so it's looking like it's becoming a diagonal line now. Be aware if you're doing this and then you're going to bend your knee and maybe go like this. You want to come back and practice in the lower realms of the position, because you keep your trunk like a column, your leg is straight, and all you are doing is hinging over onto that left hip. You're keeping your hips level, and as much as your fingertips are lowering, your toes are rising. And the same as you come out of the position. Okay? So it's physics. Again, you have the pivotal action happening here. It was like when we practiced a few days ago, Utkatasana, the king dancer. This is the pivotal point. This is the origin of your movement. So as long as you've got a nice strong standing leg and it's engaged, all the muscles are lifting and engaged, and as much weight as you take one way, you take the other, you get balance. So let's try that on the other leg now. So we're going to place the weight onto our right foot. We've got a lovely standing foot. That's the grounding of our posture. We're lifting up at the ankles, the shins. We've raised the knee. We've engaged the quads and the hamstring. Everything nice and strong. Breathe in, raise the arms above you. And relax the shoulders away from the ears. Now you might like to look up and check that your palms of hands are shoulder width apart. Your fingers are together and your thumbs travelling alongside, so it's nice and direct. Find that spot on the wall in front of you, get your concentration. Then unclench your teeth and observe that your breath is still flowing. And when you breathe in, you've got that lift and that space being created. You pull up internally, pubis to navel, great for the pelvic floors. Release that left foot gently, and as you begin to bring your hands forward, reaching forward, you raise the toes behind you. Get your left hip down in line with your right hip. Be aware if you're holding that left hip up too far. Now, to help you get your hips balanced, look at your right inner thigh muscle and roll it outwards. That will help your left hip drop down. Avoid allowing your stomach muscles to sag and collapse. Pull them up, pull them back towards the base of the spine. And as you breathe in, you come back to that central position on both feet. You stay lifted as your hands and your arms lower. And you find yourself once again in Utkatasana, mountain posture. Without looking down, you might like to pick your toes up, give them a wiggle, and then place them on the mat. Close the eyes and tune in. Become aware of the breath, the inhalation and the exhalation. Continuous. You're always building up and breaking down. It is cyclic. Two major systems of the body, anabolism and catabolism. It's the breaking down of cells and the building up of them. And when they happen in equal amount, so when you find equilibrium and balance and the body and mind work like a fine-tuned human being. Good, so let us release. Bring ourselves down onto the mat with our knees bent and our feet hip width apart. Bring your arms beside your outer legs so that they're running parallel. Nice deep inhalation, lift up, create space, and then as you exhale, tilt your pelvis, drop your chin to your chest, and keep tilting the pelvis as you experience each vertebra of your spine, 33 of them, to connect with the mat. There'll come the point where the stomach just wants to collapse and you roll down and fall heavily to the mat, but you want to avoid this. So keep connected to your stomach muscles, and over time they'll just keep growing in strength to the point where they'll never collapse. And once your shoulders are connected, just allow those arms to roll away from the sides of the body. Have your knuckles resting into the mat, the floor, the ground. Get your weight onto the heels of your feet without disturbing your spine. Allow those legs to straighten. So you really feel you've got a nice connection of your spinal cord with the mat beneath you. And once the legs are straight, you can have the feet hip width apart and allow the toes to drop away from each other. You'll gently draw the chin down towards your chest so that you've lengthened the upper neck, and you're resting centrally on the back of the skull. And now you simply let go. This is the time for your body to receive full nourishment for its concentrated effort that it's just put in to gain greater movement, to develop suppleness. You take an inward view by closing the eyes and looking inwards. And you follow the passage of breath. Your breath is your guide, always. If you follow your breath, you can travel with it down into the deepest depths of you. And here, in the deepest depths, you can and will find a sense of peace. Forget about the chatter of the mind. If the mind begins to wander, then just bring your focus back to your breath. And gain further experience of how it really feels to let go. Because in this position of serenity, and otherwise known as corpse posture, Savasana can bring great peace. You allow the weight of your body and your mind to give itself up to the support of the earth beneath you. And with each progressive breath, you allow that heaviness to fall into the earth and for the earth to support you. You're letting go. And here you can let go of all worry, all pain, all fear. Unclench the teeth. Relax the tongue in the mouth. It will swell in the mouth and touch on the teeth as it relaxes. You unfurrow the brow. You relax the hairline. Allow the skin to smooth back towards the hairline. And then very gently, you brush the thumbs across the tips of your fingers. You wiggle your toes. You can bend the knees and roll them onto your right hand side and stay in a fetal-like position. Or you could bend the knees in, cross the ankles, hold on to the feet and roll yourself up into a cross-legged position. Rise up through the trunk of your body, stay lifted and elevated. This will be the mood that you take into your day ahead. For everything you learn on the mat, you can apply to daily life. So enjoy your day and make the most of this space and time and, of course, the excellence of your yoga practice.